Hey Dev Nation, hope you guys are having a great day. Today gonna be reflecting and sharing some ideas on Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements. So I'm pretty much gonna go ahead and break down what the actual four agreements are. Then from there, I'm gonna go ahead and share with you guys sort of my take on them. Hopefully, you guys can gain some nuggets of wisdom from some of the ideas, or maybe just some of these ideas might change just a thought that you have in the future or habits that you may have, and eventually you guys can begin to develop some habits from the book as well. Or again, just take one idea from this book, and that'd be awesome. So, pretty much an overview of what the four agreements are. So, the four agreements are: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, and from there, don't make any assumptions, and then always do your best. So that's the big overview of the actual four main agreements from the book, Don Miguel Ruiz's book. Um, so pretty much for me, I really enjoyed the book just because it helped me with not judging myself, helping not judging others in life. So I guess a little backstory on myself. I am the oldest of three siblings, pretty much for the most part of my life, grown with a single mom. So I pretty much had to, when she was out working, I would have to pretty much go ahead and sort of take care of things around the house while we were going to school, elementary school, middle school, and again, taking care of two other younger siblings as well. So I always had to sort of assess situations, right? Go ahead and say, oh, brother's struggling in this, let me go ahead and help him. Make sure food was always handled, things like that. And I think over time, I developed this bad habit of judging and judging myself, judging other people, and sort of judging other situations. So I think with this book, it's definitely helped me not judge so much through the actual four agreements of the book. So again, we're gonna go ahead and pretty much break down each of the four agreements, and I really want to go ahead and share each one of them with you, sharing some stories and key ideas of from the book. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the actual first agreement. So it's gonna be taking a look at be impeccable with your word. Now I want to go ahead and actually share a story with you guys from the actual book, pretty much discussing just like a little story about being impeccable with your word and the power that your word actually has on other people. So, there was a woman, for example, who was intelligent and had a very good heart. She had a daughter whom she adored and loved very much. One night, she came home from a very bad day at work, tired, full of emotional tension, and with a terrible headache. She wanted peace and quiet, but her daughter was singing and jumping happily. The daughter was unaware of how her mother was feeling. She was in her own world, in her own dream. She felt so wonderful, and she was jumping and singing louder and louder, expressing her joy and her love. She was singing so loud that it made her mother's headache even worse. Now, at a certain moment, the mother lost control. Angrily, she looked at her beautiful little girl and said, "Shut up! You have an ugly voice. Can you just shut up?" The truth is that the mother's tolerance for any noise was non existent. It was not that the little girl's voice was ugly, but the daughter believed what her mother said, and in that moment, she made an agreement with herself. After that, she no longer sang because she believed her voice was ugly and would bother anyone who heard it. She became shy at school, and if she was asked to sing, she refused. Even speaking to others became difficult for her. Everything changed in the little girl because of this new agreement. She believed she must repress her emotions in order to be accepted and loved. So I guess a little backstory as well. In the earlier, one or two chapters, they also talk about how growing up, when we're taught our agreements, so if we're taught, 5, 10 years old sort of thing from our parents, from people who we look up to above us that are raising us, if they tell us, hey, you're not supposed to do something, usually if we just agree, that's enough to actually just go ahead and say, because we agree, that becomes part of what we believe as true. So as soon as we agree with someone growing up, that's actually perceived as our truth or our reality in life. So that's something that they discussed in the earlier chapter, so I wanted to kind of give some context there as well. And they also mentioned how that's sort of the domestication of a human being. And so with the four agreements, it helps us to sort of think for ourselves and be on this heaven on earth sort of thing. So, but I definitely wanted to share that story with you guys just because I really thought that was probably one of the biggest stories from the book that to this day has left an impact on me personally, just because it goes to show you the true power of a person's word. A person's word, even though, again, the mother was super, she was just frustrated from the entire day. I mean, I think we can all relate to a day when we go out to work, we come back, and it was just a bad day. It was just a terrible day. Our energy is just depleted, and we have all that negativity in our brain just from all these different things, from work or school, whatever it may be throughout the day. And you come home, you're exhausted. And the last thing you want to hear is all this noise and all this chaos happening when you're back at home, just trying to get comfortable. But because of all this chaos, we allowed it to sort of take control of our word. So, I mean, it's a really deep story that I read from the book, and just wanted to go ahead and share that with you guys. Again, showing how we have to try and sort of be conscious. Okay, even though we've had a bad day, we have to still try and be careful with the words and actions that we do, because again, words can uplift people, they can bring people up, they can empower people, encourage people, but they can also tear people down. Again, with the little girl, she doesn't sing again, and it can hold them back, right? So we have to be careful with the words that we actually share and discuss with other people. But yeah, so be impeccable with your words. So that's sort of the big story I want to share with you guys. Pretty much always being thoughtful and conscious of the words that we actually do go ahead and use. And from there, we go ahead on to the second agreement. So that's don't take anything personally. Now, I really agree with all four of the agreements, but I wanted to go ahead and share a couple of quotes from the book so we can better understand how to not really take things personally, or why we shouldn't necessarily take things personally. So personal importance, or taking things personally, is the maximum expression of selfishness, because we make the assumption that everything is about me. So right off the bat, he discusses how because we're taking something personally, we're actually being selfish. So I never really thought of taking things personally in that sort of perspective of, oh, hey, I'm being a selfish person because everything's about me, right? Which it makes sense when you take things personally, you make it about you, right? You make it about, oh, that person did this because they know I don't like this, when in fact they just do it because they were taught that's how you do it, right? Whatever, just some example. And then another thought I wanted to share was, that person tried to send poison to you, and if you take it personally, then you take that poison and it becomes yours. So that poison you take, and you actually carry that with you. Taking things personally makes you easy prey for these predators, the black magicians. They can hook you easily with one little opinion and feed you whatever poison they want. And because you take it personally, you eat it up. Now, I know at first, when I first read the book, I was kind of like, they talk about like black magic and this and that. I was kind of like, eh. But I mean, the ideas overall, they make a lot of sense, right? Again, with this sort of black magic, this poison that they talk about. Yeah, if you go ahead and believe, again, with the little girl, she believed that what the mother said was true, and she carried that sort of weight and poison on her. And because of that, she carried, again, this black magic idea, this black poison with her for the rest of her life, and it pretty much suppressed what she did for the rest of her life, because even though she loved singing, she really pretty much never ever did it again. And then also, but if you do not take it personally, you are immune in this middle of hell sort of thing. So again, at the beginning of the book, it starts off very dark with the domestication of humans, and how technically we currently live in like a hell on earth sort of thing. But with the four agreements, it helps make us steps closer to having a heaven on earth sort of idea. So if we carry this poison, we encourage a sort of hell on earth idea. Again, I know at first it's kind of like, what? But again, the thoughts and the ideas overall, I think they make sense. And again, if we're going to, again, go through the ideas and try and make sense of them. But with it, it's not important to take what you think personally. So with these two agreements so far, it helps us have this heaven on earth instead of and moving away from this sort of hell on earth by being impeccable with the word and then not taking things personally. Now, the third one, I was actually curious. So the third one is don't make assumptions. Now, I kind of actually took that as part of technically the second one. So because with the second one, we are sort of assuming, right? When we take things personally, we assume that this other person or thing within our day or life or whatever, they did it to like spite us, right? Like, again, if someone goes and does something and we take it personally, we can also say like we assumed that they did that either to spite us or to they went out of their way to just hurt us for no good reason. But then to them, perhaps they did it because, again, that's just how they were taught to do it. Maybe they did it because they thought they were helping you, right? And they just didn't have perhaps that perspective. Oh wow, actually this doesn't help that person. But again, because we assumed and we also took it personally, usually when that happens, we don't also mention to the other person, hey, I didn't appreciate this, this doesn't really help me at all, sort of thing. And we just sort of keep it within ourselves and, again, make it about me, and we keep it in our heads, and it's just sort of all in our minds, sort of thing. So, but again, third agreement would be don't make assumptions. And so let's see, I want to go ahead and right away it talks about the problem with making assumptions is that we believe they are true, or they are the truth, sorry. But again, I mean, that makes sense, right? If we go ahead and make assumptions, they're usually going to be within our own head. We're usually going to be thinking to ourselves, hyping it up, that one assumption that we've made within ourselves. Then we carry on with that idea in our head for quite a while, right? I mean, if you go ahead and take things, if you make assumptions, let's say even at work, and you carry that with you, when you go home, you're going to carry that assumption with you throughout your own personal life. Like, work can be completely out of the picture, right? And then we go home at night on the weekends, and we sort of start carrying that and telling ourselves that is actually true. So that's why it's important to not necessarily make assumptions. And I think it's also important to sort of grow your awareness as well. And I think with growing sort of your awareness on who you are as a person, maybe getting some more perspective about yourself, then from there, it helps you not make so many assumptions, right? Plus, you won't take so many things personally. Because I guess personally, at least, if I know I'm like skilled on one thing, I know my own abilities, and I know over time, maybe it's not good right now, but over time it'll get better because I enjoy it. And, whereas if someone tells you, hey, you suck at that, but internally, like, no, I'm good. I actually enjoy it, and I think I'm really good at it, and I'm making progress in it, then good for you. Then that's what it's really all about, right? Then with another idea, so we only see what we want to see, and we hear what we want to hear. We don't perceive things the way they are. So I also thought that was interesting. Earlier, I was reminded of the idea between a scarcity mindset versus an abundance mindset. So if we see things in scarcity, right, so where we don't have as much of something as we would like, I think that's really just our own mindset. Whereas if we unlock sort of that key, once we find that little key that's holding us back, whether it be words or something else that happened in our life, and we can sort of see the flip side, we can see how much abundance there really is in life. Now, it's not going to be easy necessarily, but we can see all these other opportunities that we can actually go ahead and go out and try and, grab, because we have more of this abundance mindset and we've changed it from that scarcity mindset. So I really do think that with this whole, we only see what we want to see and hear what we want to hear, it has this effect of whatever mindset we're in. So if we think that this person likes us, for example, and they go ahead and do this action, we might automatically be like, oh man, they're so great, they're so awesome, even though we don't know why they're doing it. Maybe just doing it because they personally like it, not to actually, uplift us. And again, vice versa. In our own mind, if we think negatively about someone or some sort of activity, we're just going to go ahead and pretty much push that to the extreme as well. So again, I also agree that it's important to not make assumptions in life. Just keep doing your thing and build some sort of awareness and perspective, and I think you should be good. Now, the fourth agreement is always do your best. And this one, I sort of interpreted a little differently. It's like a little extra besides always do your best. But a quote from it says, under any circumstance, always do your best, no more and no less. Let's see. So there was a man who wanted to transcend his suffering, so he went to a Buddhist temple to find a master to help him. He went to the master and asked, Master, if I meditate for 4 hours a day, how long will it take me to transcend? The master looked at him and said, if you meditate 4 hours a day, perhaps you will transcend in 10 years. Thinking he could do better, the man then said, oh, master, what if I meditated 8 hours a day? How long will it take me to transcend? From there, the master looked at him and said, if you meditate 8 hours a day, perhaps you will transcend in 20 years. But why will it take me longer if I meditate more? The man asked. Well, the master replied, you are not here to sacrifice your joy or your life. You are here to live, to be happy, and to love. If you can do your best in 2 hours of meditation, but you spend 8 hours instead, you will only grow tired, miss the point, and you won't enjoy your life. Do your best, and perhaps you will learn that no matter how long you meditate, you can live, love, and be happy. So I thought that was cool. So sort of my other perspective on it with always doing your best, I also took this as always do your best, even in the things, or I guess especially in the things you don't necessarily like to do. So for example, I don't enjoy doing laundry. I find it a bore. It's such a chore to do, although I don't mind doing dishes. I do dishes, but when I have to go ahead and do laundry, I've found after reading this book, instead of saying, oh man, that sucks, I don't like doing laundry, why do I have to do laundry, curse the world sort of thing, I've tried to approach it with the perspective, okay, well, I'm going to do the best that I can with doing laundry, and I'm going to also make this as fun as I can. So instead of thinking of like that negative mindset, I'm approaching it with more of a positive mindset. And I think that can be approached with anything in life, whether it's a new topic you learn at school or at work. You can approach it and sort of just be like, all right, this is the situation. I can always try my best in this situation by thinking a little more positively and using that energy for positivity and sort of moving forward. Instead of seeing something as a chore, we can see it as a new opportunity to sort of grow. And so like I really enjoyed the always do your best, and it kind of goes back to with Yoda. It's like don't try, just be sort of thing, where it's like if you're gonna go and do something, don't tell you like you don't have to necessarily say, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and try and do this, right? Just if you approach it again with the mindset of I'm going to do this, and because I'm doing it, it will be the best that I can do. With that sort of mindset, right? With that sort of mentality of just anything I do, I'm going to always give my best at. Then I think, it's a good, well spent time doing whatever chore or whatever task it is that you have to do, because you're approaching it with a good, positive mindset, and you're, again, developing this other area, this other skill that you normally wouldn't like to develop, and you're really testing out ways that you can go ahead and do it. So back to the example of doing laundry. I don't like doing laundry, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and play music while I do laundry. So I went ahead and played music, and I sort of started dancing and kind of moving, and I figured, if I can make myself sort of laugh and chuckle it off while I do laundry, I figured that could be a great way to actually go ahead and do laundry, because though I don't like doing laundry, I love to listen to music. I love to kind of move and groove. Fun fact, I love playing percussion, so I love always grooving and playing rhythms. I figure if I can just goofily dance while I go ahead and do laundry and do this task that I find boring, it'll sort of make it better. And again, back to that positive mindset, I'll be able to actually do my best, because I can look back and say, you know what, I really did try my best in doing laundry. Even though I didn't enjoy doing laundry, I found a way to make it positive. And because you're positive, you're going to have more energy and more focus to actually do the task that you have at hand. So that is the actual 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make any assumptions. And then the 4th one, always do your best. And again, with that 4th one, I always like to think of it, always do your best, especially when it's something you don't want to do, or I guess in spite of things, or always do your best no matter what, I guess would be a better way to put it. But again, approaching things with that positive mindset, not letting emotions get the best of us all the time, right? Like, I think it's important, acknowledge your feelings, right? We're all human. So yeah, we have feelings. We're not robots who just do logic and no feelings. We all have feelings because we're all human. So acknowledge your feelings. If you're having a rough day, then maybe that's where you got to be a little more conscious of your actual word, what you say to other people and how you say them to other people. And that's something I have to work on with sort of how I say things to people. Then second one, don't take anything personally. Again, it goes back to that mindset, right? Not everything necessarily has to be about you. So don't, again, from the book, it talks about taking anything personally, you being selfish. So work on, just don't take something personally. Other people have their own lives to also live and do, right? Then don't make assumptions. So don't assume, because we don't know, again, what that other person's perspective is, where that other person even is in life, right? This other person, I know a lot of the time we tend to compare. Like if you're doing, I don't know, if you're in school and you compare how you're doing in school versus someone else. Well, you don't know that other person's situation, right? Even though you're like you might be struggling in school, that other person, I don't know, they might have some sort of terrible thing that's happening within their life that you don't know. I know a cool example that I thought was interesting from Jordan B. Peterson. He talks about how like you're driving your like regular schmo car, just just some regular car. And you see this person driving with the Lamborghini. You're like, man, I wish I had their life. They're so cool. They're so awesome. But what you don't know is that they're 3 seconds away from wrapping themselves into into one of those barriers and killing themselves, right? So we just don't know what other people's lives really are. So don't assume. And sort of with that third agreement, sort of helping with don't compare yourself to others. Just compare yourself to who you were yesterday and continue to make progress, persevere, and have a little faith too. I think is important. Just faith in yourself, believe in yourself of, hey, I can do this, whatever it is I'm going to achieve. And with that last agreement, always do your best. So now you believe in yourself and you're going to continue to persevere after your goals and kill it. But always taking the approach of doing your best no matter what it is that you're going to go ahead and approach and going to go ahead and do. I hope you guys enjoyed taking a look at the 4 agreements, sharing some reflections, sharing with you guys some of my thoughts and ideas on them. I really hope you guys, again, gain value out of today's experience. Again, just discussing what the 4 agreements are. Any stories as well from the book, at least the ones that had a deep impact on my life. It was a very impactful book, and hopefully some of these ideas and thoughts had a deep impact on you, and you can go ahead and reflect on them in a later time. Again, truly, truly appreciate you guys tuning in, and thanks for watching.